Welcome back. The markets, looking like it will have a weak start, and that's because of the Asian markets. But do remember that's China-specific issue, and in the past we have had, instances when the Chinese indices are down, but our markets have moved on. So let's see. I think the first hour is going to be important today. Deepan Mehta from Elixir is with us now. Deepan, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. I wanted your thoughts first on Bharti Airtel. There was big delivery buying yesterday. And there were some really positive statements from Sunil Mittal, who joined on the call yesterday. I'm sure you would have heard that. How would you position yourself in a stock like Bharti? It's close to its 52-week highs now.
Yeah, good morning, Anuj, and thanks for having me on your show. I think the Bharti stock is on the move, and the positive news flow which we saw yesterday was just the trigger that we were waiting for. I think all of the concerns about usage of funds have been addressed. And the manner in which the management was determined to raise tariffs and increase their ARPUs means that I think that Bharti Airtel should enter a new growth phase. And the stagnancy and the problem which we have seen for the past 4 or 5 years, I think they seem to be well behind them. And now I think duopoly is a bit of a certainty, and that will certainly give pricing power to both Bharti as well as Jio. And this fundraise is in the right direction because it allays certain concerns about investors as to how they're going to look at 5G and the extra capex which they are going to spend, considering that Jio is going to go for 5G in a very serious manner. I think all the issues and concerns, negative factors around Bharti have been addressed, and you could see the stock easily be an outperformer over the next few weeks and months. Having said that, it's a company in which we and our clients are invested in.
Okay, does this mean higher levels for Reliance as well? I mean, you spoke about, Sunil Mittal talking about 200 rupees ARPU in FY22. Not just that, there is an acquisition that Reliance plans to do. According to reports, they're planning to acquire that largest solar panel manufacturer in Europe. What would all of this mean for Reliance Industries? And from an investor standpoint, what should one do?
I think if they're able to pull off that deal and actually get into solar panel manufacturing in a big way, it would be a big game changer for Reliance Industries. It's one of the weaknesses in our solar power industry that we don't have captive capacity or captive technology to manufacture efficient solar panels, and I think this will get addressed with that. And knowing Reliance, they typically want to go for complete integration backward as well as forward, and such an acquisition is very strategic in nature. At the same time, I think the news that tariffs may go up is very positive for Jio also, where I think whatever gains they could get in terms of increasing their subscriber base, I think those are more or less discounted, and what is required as a further trigger to take the valuation higher would be increase in tariffs and then how the other digital businesses are shaping up. So I think very positive on Reliance Industries also. It's a company which is continuously in the news on the positive side, thankfully. And valuations are reasonable. It has been a bit of an underperformer for the past few months or so. And now maybe it can play a bit of a catch up over here. And such news is typically what excites a lot of investors and results in higher P multiples as well.
Okay, so that's a thumbs up on Reliance coming in from Deepan. Deepan, stay on. We'll have more questions for you. But right now, it's time to go across to Nigel for our Momentumizer segment. And today, Nigel is going to talk about a stock which typically benefits when oil prices rise. And that's exactly what's been happening over the last few days. Nigel, morning.
Well, that's right. We have seen crude oil prices quite volatile. In fact, seen a bit of a dip in the month of August. But we've seen a bit of an uptake in the last few days. And ONGC, well, they're a direct beneficiary. And also keep in mind that for forever, the stock has been trading at mid-teens in terms of a PE multiple. Now, what's the news in terms of crude? We have a Hurricane Ida that was expected to hit the coast. Now, the street is still analyzing in terms of what is the impact and whether or not, that storm is receding. So that's point number one. Second factor is tomorrow you have a meeting with the OPEC Plus. So how much more supply will they release in the market? That's what will determine the move in terms of crude oil prices. Now, moving to ONGC, why did the stock come on my radar? Well, if you look at yesterday's delivery statistic, it was nearly 50% higher than what we have seen in the average in the previous 10 trading sessions. So close to 80 lakh shares were delivered on the NSE itself. And even in terms of delivery percentage, well, it was nearly around 50%. That compares with around 30-35% odd that we've seen in the previous 10 trading sessions. Now, technically, the stock looks strong. Why do I say that? Because yesterday it conquered the 20, the 50, the 100, the 200 DMA as well. It's conquered all those marks. So the big question is, can it move back towards that 52-week high that we saw early in the month of June? And from there, the stock did see a sharp correction. That's at around 128 rupees odd. Sustaining above these levels could make it stronger for more. Back to you guys.
Okay, all right. Got that, Nigel. Thank you very much for the updates there. Dipan, so ONGC is our momentumizer. As Nigel said, I mean, it's one of those stocks where you're not dealing with crazy valuations. But in any case, does it make it to your buy list?
No, not really. I think we are in such an exciting market over here, and so many ideas are there. So much of action is there in so many industries. Why look for ONGC unless you are, looking for dividend yield and a deeply value investor? So I would avoid ONGC. Of course, the stock can rally 25% any point of time, but getting in, getting out, and making serious money has never been the case with ONGC. The biggest grouse with ONGC, of course, is that oil prices may go up and go down. That's fine, but there's hardly any scope for volume increase, be it gas or crude oil, and that's been the biggest problem with ONGC when it comes to increasing its earnings in a sustainable manner. So I would avoid ONGC, but no doubt there could be a trading rally at any point of time in ONGC, given its valuations and given the kind of market positions which are there, as well as global oil prices.
Okay, Deepan, yesterday there was quite a bit of rally in some of these exchanges. BSE itself did quite well. IEX, MCX, all these stocks have been doing well. Any preferred picks here?
Yeah, no, I think I'd go with IEX. And this steadily the news flow is improving for that company. The government push is towards more traded volumes on the power exchanges. And right now, I think hardly 6% is being traded on the power exchanges. And as more and more gets traded, you could see volume significantly improve. It's got a monopolistic position, I think 92% market share. And eventually, I think they're launching many new products as well. So you have a best case scenario as far as IEX is concerned. Only thing you have to compromise, of course, is on the valuation, because typically such stocks trade at very high valuation. But I think that we can see a steady compounding of earnings over the next 3 to 5 years or so, which will neutralize the high PE multiple. So very positive on IEX. But I think the stock has run up recently. So I would like to wait for a correction, maybe 10, 15, 20%, and then look for making an entry over there. That would provide some amount of margin of safety. Again, a stock in which we and our clients are interested.
Okay, big moves in IEX. The other space I wanted to ask you about was autos. The numbers come out tomorrow, but Nomura put out a note where they said that the retails for two-wheelers has been very slow in this month, and inventory levels are now more than 6 weeks. So looks like the problems are not over there just yet. Would you buy any auto stocks, or are you cautious?
No, I think we are neutral to mildly negative on auto. And the kind of response which Ola Electric has got, I think is going to completely rejuvenate the e-scooter space. And that spells bad news for all the two-wheeler listed companies. And although all of the two-wheeler companies have got plans for electric scooters and motorcycles, but they will never have the same kind of operating profit margins as their present product line has. And the competition which is coming in the electric vehicle space is being funded by private equity, which means that they can go in for huge losses for many years. And that certainly will impact the competitive intensity and affect the performance of all two-wheeler companies. I think four-wheelers is a little while away, but the competition for two-wheelers from the electric vehicle side is right over there at their doorstep. So I would be a bit cautious on the entire auto space, especially in two-wheelers. And as and when I think we may see volumes improve within the sector, one should look at lightening up over there if you're a bit overweight.
Okay, the reason I asked Bharti first up to Deepan was, like I was pointing out in closing bell yesterday, the delivery volumes yesterday were upward of 1100 crores. I'll just pull out that chart because the market would have waited for that to play out. And I think the statements that he made yesterday, though of course there's one argument that there's nobody who's stopping him from raising his ARPUs to 200. The issue here is that there's while even if it's a duopoly, there's other large player who has still not shown signs of raising tariffs a lot. So that's always going to be an issue. But yesterday in the second half, it looked like there was a bit of a breakout. So that's going to be an important stock. Now, a related question we already asked you on Bharti Airtel, Deepan, is what happens to Indus Tower? Because yesterday Sunil Mittal made it very clear. In fact, the last part of rally was because of that they will not be investing any more from this fundraise into Indus Tower. It's an important asset for them, and there's not going to be monetization anytime soon as well. So does that mean the big underperformance that we have seen in Indus Tower that continues, Deepan?
See, it's just that only thing in favor of Indus Towers is that it is extremely attractively valued, got good cash flows, dividend yield as well. But the biggest risk factor is Vodafone Idea. And if Vodafone Idea is not able to keep its operations going and they have to surrender the towers, and if it's a kind of a messy unwind over there, then Indus Towers is certainly going to be impacted significantly. So while you have the opportunity to buy into Bharti Airtel and Reliance Industries, I think better to go for growth within the telecom industry than a value play like Indus Towers. So I would like to avoid Indus Towers at this point of time. Just too much of uncertainty around Vodafone, which may impact its near-term and medium-term prospects.
Okay, I guess we'll just have to wait a while longer to see how this plays out and what the eventual end game is for Vodafone. Okay, just stay on. We'll have more questions for you, Dipan, in a moment. We're quickly connecting with a company now. Newgen Software is in focus. The stock has, of course, had a tremendous rally, rising 90% plus in the last 6 months. And now, of course, there are new questions around the rupee strength. So let's connect with Diwakar Nigam, CMD of Newgen Software Technologies, to get a fine print on the outlook. Mr. Nigam, thanks for joining in. First, the rupee question, actually. We